from insecurity to lack of power, accessible in terms of electricity supply, to shortage of gas, to the fact that we're having a situation with fuel distribution, obviously because of the Israel-US-Iran war, and a compound of issues affecting Nigerians. On the Evening Rush, we topically look into these issues, we logically comprehend them, have a proper assessment of these issues with our analysts who usually gives us their own perspective or insight. Now, nobody would say that what our analysts tell us or what insight they share with us is basically 100% what it is. There is room for you to dispute anything they say based on your own perception or your own counter arguments. The idea on this platform is that we try to intellectually edify ourselves. No one person knows it all, so that's why we have these conversations and this engagement. Also, the essence of having this engagement is to propel the action of government, all right, our government officials on their responsibilities dedicated to them, specifically as the Constitution requires, based on the office they occupy. So the fact that you're a president, you're a governor, you're a House of Rep member, you're a senator, you did not get there on your own. You were elected in that position to adhere to the needs of the people. In other words, from what the Constitution says, is not being told on what Nigerians are going through, what Nigerians are feeling. Our job is to highlight this. I mean, on the airwaves, you cannot erase it, all right? And we also stream on YouTube. So possibly anyone in any leadership position could take a listen to the conversation we have here, hear the reactions of Nigerians to these issues, and do the needful. Nigeria does not belong to one person or a set of persons or a subset of persons. Nigeria belongs to all Nigerians. That is what we actually try to highlight on this platform. My name is Esther Wachuku. Once again, I welcome you to the Evening Rush. Yesterday evening, when I finished the show, I told you that I was expecting somebody in the studio, and that person's an active member, like a real active member in the ADC. He has come here on several occasions. He was once a member of the Labour Party, and obviously he defected to the ADC just like his principal did. A lot of the members in the Labour Party who are supposedly followers of Peter Obi also defected to the ADC. He's meant to be here today, but there was a meeting with INEC officials and he's not here yet. I do hope he will join us soon. He told me that he'll be coming in later, but I can no longer wait for him to arrive. So let's kick off with what we intend to discuss this evening. First of all, let's move on to the aspect of insecurity. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's aide has told us that the president is bothered by the insecurity in the country. He says that he is having a sleepless night. And the statement was made by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, Northwest, Abdulilahi Yakasai. He was the one who disclosed this via a Monitor television program. He stated that the fight against insurgency has become more challenging because insurgents have adopted a guerrilla warfare. He said the situation in some parts of the country has really been subdued, okay, but that there are some elements who are bringing in new tactics, and that these ones, like we see in Kwara, Niger State and other states, is actually quite unfortunate. But that the president is having sleepless nights because every week he is seen having a Security Council meeting in the presidential villa to see how to address this insecurity. He says and admitted that it is indeed a situation that is very hard to tackle, and that we have come a long time from this crisis. It's something that has been going on in this country. It did not just start from the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but that it's been happening, and it seems like there is a hand, all right, in this kind of insecurity issue, that he cannot say if it is a coordinated insecurity situation, but he wants to say that there is a political hand in this situation to embarrass President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Corroborating the spate of insecurity, Ali Undumi, all right, former Senate Chief Whip, has come out to tell us that they need more equipment. Like when he went to make an assessment in Ngoshe, where what happened, where the bomb blast and killings and individuals or citizens, residents were actually kidnapped, and the several killings that took place there. He says that is a very terrible sight, that in fact the communities there, most infrastructures have been destroyed, access to electricity, water supply and social amenities are seriously lacking, and that the people are literally living on a hang. That is, they are absolutely living in panic, apprehension, in fear, looking over their shoulder. So he's calling on the federal government that something decided divisive needs to be done immediately and disclose to us that he'll be actually bringing it up at the National Assembly. But Nigerians have come out to ask the question, something as bad and terrible as insecurity, where persons no longer feel safe in their homes, every day is one situation or the other, that the National Assembly had not thought it through to invite the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, and all of them to come and give us a response to questions as to why we continue to experience what is happening. But they were very free and available to visit the President to the United Kingdom for an ostentatious visit with the Prime Minister Keir Starmer and the King of England. So what exactly is their priority? Is their priority ceremonious, or their priorities for Nigerians? Okay, yes, that's one aspect we're going to look into this evening. Now, on the political scene, we know that our political affiliates and supposedly principals of different political parties are gearing up for 2027, and the talk is, if this administration finds it difficult to handle the insecurity in this country, who among these aspirants are qualified and will better handle the situation if they assume power immediately? What method or strategy do they intend to apply that this administration has not applied to squash the spate of insecurity in this country? That's a big deal. So the question was brought to the fore. Now, one person that has been speaking, who is an opposition, speaking against the opposition, is Omoyele Sowore. So today, presidential faithfuls and hopefuls and party members, especially at the exco level or the executive level, met with INEC officials today, where they had to have a deep dive into conversations about the Electoral Acts, and especially the renewed Electoral Act. A lot of things were being looked into, so they needed to carry political parties along. But let's take a very close listen to what Omoyele Sowore said. In that particular interview, he blasted Peter Obi and the Obidients, and he said that they are being taken advantage of. They are using them for the MMM scandal. Let's take a very brief listen to him so we can also have a context in what Omoyele Sowore is actually dishing out right in that interview.
They have alliance. So when parties they have alliance. So when parties want to align, don't they make public statements about it? You cannot just go to a Salah party and call it an alliance before people start entering clubs and calling it alliance. And what they must also recognize is that the time for lying to Nigerian people is over. So many of these very childish tactics have, as they say, they don't cast. So, but we have no problem against those who want to align with whomever they want. They must also understand that other people are entitled to have alliances. I may not align, because the problem most Nigerians have with their language and tone and rhetoric is that they are only the ones who have the right to align with whomever they want. Without criticism, and they are the only people who ask not to be criticized. Yeah, I've never heard that before. If you are criticizing other people, you now say you can't be criticized, and like I said, you are not ready for prime time. And it is when you have something to hide that you run away from criticism.
Of course.
And you bully people and harass them. Oh, how dare you touch my anointed? No, that anointing oil has expired.
Imagine when such persons come to power.
Yes. So that's we have no problem, but we are more interested in our own alliance, which is the alliance of the oppressed, not this bogus alliance. We cannot align with people who ruined Nigeria. We keep saying it. We cannot align with the criminal groups who made sure that this country did not experience progress and development for 66 years. Those who are responsible cannot enjoy our alliance or respect. Yes. I'm not talking about those who are helping him to fool you or helping them to fool you. Those ones that justifies his criminal alliances. You understand? That's not. It's the people who, in their large numbers, are being euthanized by these lies. I feel bad for them because some of them are genuinely interested. They think they are involved in nation building or some kind of movement that will bring about change, only to understand too quickly and too early that they are part of a fraud, a political fraud scheme, syndicate, a Ponzi scheme, one of the biggest political Ponzi schemes. You heard it from me.
Yes.
That could be put together. Is all this MMM, Peter Obi movement that tells you today that somebody is a criminal, then the next day they are with the person, and they will justify why they are with the person. The criminal structure is no longer criminal. It is now structuring, and they are helping to restructure the criminal structures so that they can learn how the criminal structures failed. They are the only persons who go and learn how to fail. We teach people how to succeed.
We have been of the same.
All right, that's Sowore, that he believes that the Obidients are being taken advantage of and that they're psychologically putting them on a rigmarole. He also believes that his political party is the best political party that represents the interests of Nigerians, which is the AAC. Meanwhile, again, on the same Peter Obi, I would say exactly this particular individual seems to be the most talked about politician amongst all the presidential hopefuls. I'm talking about everyone always calling him out. God knows precisely what the reason is. He's not the only person that is vying for that ticket. And it should not surprise anyone if he actually doesn't emerge on that ticket. So I wonder then what will happen if, or what anyone would say if he doesn't get to be on the ballot. Then what happens? Would he still be the topic or the essence of anybody's vilification? All right, but let's look at the former President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Issa Ayo Salami, who is retired. He said that former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi should not have been allowed to contest the 2023 presidential election under the platform of the Labour Party. Salami attributed the situation to what he described as incompetence among some members of the judiciary. The retired jurist spoke in Ilorin, Kwara State during a courtesy visit by officials of the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism. I mean, I read this out during the World News at 6. Salami is expressing concerns about the appointment and promotion of judges without adequate regard for competence and experience. He says that there are indeed bad eggs amongst some judges, and that it's a problem. It is a problem amongst the hierarchy of judges, but that for him, Obi's candidacy in 2023 should have been disallowed based on constitutional provisions. What are these constitutional provisions? He said, for instance, Peter Obi ought not be allowed to contest that election, that in this sense, by the time he lost the PDP primary, Labour Party had submitted its list of members to the Independent National Electoral Commission, and that the Constitution says that there cannot be an independent candidacy. Okay, so how did he become a candidate of the Labour Party if he does not belong to the Labour Party? So the big question is, who said he was not in the Labour Party? What if he had already, sought to join the Labour Party while he was tendering his resignation at the People's Democratic Party? But hey, he's a retired judge, so let's continue with what he says. He said he cited the case of Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf, noting that a similar issue arose during his election. Okay, he said that his name is not in the NNPP's register, but they issued him a membership card, and the register is supposed to be the mother of the card. He added that the Supreme Court eventually upheld the outcome despite earlier concerns raised by lower courts. The former appeal court president also criticized the promotion process within the judiciary. So the big question is this: what role does Peter Obi play in terms of the corruption, the inefficiency, the inadequacy of our judges at the bench, as our judges at the bar? Because this example precisely, is it a political instance to say what? There were other examples to give as to how the judiciary has been politicized, an institution that is meant to be sacred, to represent the common man, to defend the common man, to be the final arbiter of the common man, has been a weapon, is an institution weaponized by political oligarchs for their political whims and caprices. I mean, we're seeing houses, major houses built for judges, and then if you have done this based on a certain individual under his name, how then do you now judge cases objectively? I mean, this is what Nigerians are asking. This is a question they're asking. So the premise was, if you wanted to make an example as to the inefficiency, the ineffectiveness, the fact that it is about recommendation and about not due diligence to who gets promoted, why a political example. So in what instance does the Peter Obi situation supposedly brings clarification as to the porosities witnessed, all right, in the judicial hierarchy or in the judicial ranking? So you're saying now, based on, are you saying that because he was allowed to contest that election in 2023, then the court that issued or allowed that was incompetent? Or that what happened with Abba Yusuf was also the incompetency of the court? There were no other potent cases that could have been used in this particular scenario, specifically like the Electoral Act, which has to be in tandem with the Constitution. And they're saying that there are major differentials between what is approved in the Electoral Act with what is in the Constitution. We're going to look into this this evening. Hopefully, my guest comes in on time so we can discuss some of these issues. I would also try to reach out to a legal practitioner to kind of respond to what Aya Salami said in regards to the situation with Mr. Peter Obi. Now, that's not the only interesting scenario that took place. So I'm sure some of us saw some video that went viral on social media where in a mosque, the monies that were given to them, all right, for Eid, they were fighting themselves. It was indeed a very embarrassing situation. If you're watching us now, I think that video is on YouTube. It's going to be played. If you're joining us on YouTube, you can actually watch it there. Hold on, please. Yeah, so I was telling the streamers to quickly put up the video if you're watching us on YouTube so you can actually see what happened. So Nigerians were now saying, is this how bad poverty has become, where you institutionalize poverty and then weaponize, all right, that particular anomaly in the society? I mean, in a mosque, money is given to them to supposedly just enjoy themselves for the Eid. It was a boxing match, oh. It was boxing. You needed to see upper court, lower court, middle court. Like, I'm like, exactly. When did it become this bad? When did we get to this situation? How did we get to this point that there are certain persons you wouldn't have expected to get to this, but this is what they're doing? Well, that video actually went viral on social media, and Nigerians were talking about it. That is this what we have become? And these are the set of persons who are complaining that, oh, this administration is not doing well. This administration is not doing right. But if you give them the right money or the right whatever, then their tone will change, or whatever will happen. And that's why there are talks as to, when it comes to elections, what morality for some persons does not play any form of role. I mean, if you're watching on YouTube now, you'll see that video. It was hilarious. I don't know how they eventually shared their money, but it was a hilarious event. I mean, I was seeing taekwondo there. Chairs were being thrown. Upper courts was given. Lower courts. People were being flung on the floor. I say, our beautiful brothers in the inside Moscow. I don't know if this is not a crime. How do they call that thing? There's a word they usually call it when they want to do this or whatever. Is it not? Are they not committing blasphemy? I mean, in a mosque. See what they are doing. Who is going to punish these people now? And what Sharia punishment to be imposed on these individuals? Because this is not a pretty sight to behold. Hunger is bad, my people. Hunger is terrible. And it's so, if you try to comprehend Nigeria, you go get a headache. And the headache, Panadol no go carry on for you. Wallahi, you will need a very strong one. And after you've taken it and the pain has subsided a little bit, the pain of the situation will reawaken you to continue that pain. So yes, this is precisely what happened in one of the mosques after the money was shared. They said it was between the Hausa and the Fulani, and because of that, they were fighting themselves. We're seeing different combat styles. For some of you who don't know how to fight, I think this video will teach you how to throw punches, uppercuts, lower cuts, Jackie Chan, all of them. Mama, sit beating. Okay, well, yes, that's one of the theatrics and dramatic events we're going to be seeing in this dispensation amongst Nigerians and even our political elites. All right, that's not the only interesting thing that is taking place. So you recall what's going on within the NURTW, right? I'm sure yesterday you heard what happened between the MC Oluomo faction and the Barua faction. Barua came and said that based on court proceedings that he was the one that was supposed to be the NURTW chairman, that they have been in court for a very long time. But you know what exactly this entails. When he was trying to take over the secretariat, the NURTW secretariat, I mean, they destroyed properties of MC Oluomo. They broke the door. They also destroyed the pictures on the wall, his pictures on the wall, and all of that. Well, as it seems now, MC Oluomo has regained control of the secretariat and accessed the damage. Oh yes, apparently while he was speaking there, he says that the faction led by Tajuddin Barua occupied the secretariat just yesterday, citing court rulings said to be in his favor. But apparently Barua now has been taken to court. Exactly, he was arrested yesterday and he's been taken to court over what transpired. Barua is saying that he wrote to the Nigerian police that they were about to come take over that particular secretariat, that they were well aware of him coming to take over the secretariat. So however, MC Oluomo said that the situation is now under control and that he's urging the members to be peaceful and calm. So what we want to understand is, how many years is the position of that NURTW president, whatever? How many years has MC Oluomo not exceeded his years or his position for another group, another person to take on? Because this case is in court, or would he be done with that position after 2027? What precisely is he being retained there for? Okay, despite a court order, what exactly is he being retained there for? Let's listen to this. Can you hear it? So there are videos of the properties being destroyed. MC Oluomo also taken an assessment of the entire office, the entire secretariat. Doors were destroyed, papers torn, files thrown all over the place. The cabinets too were searched and ransacked. Office interior decor too was also destroyed. These were the assessments that he was, looking at, along with some security personnel, both the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian police. They were in the vicinity while he has taken over the secretariat. So the question is, if the court has given an order for Barua to take over, then why was he arrested? Okay, why was he arrested? But according to MC Oluomo, he's saying that the case is in court, and that for now there is a stay of execution. Stay of execution to whose benefit or for whose benefit? These are the, will I say, misunderstanding and contrast assessment of how the court is used politically, to the benefit of certain persons and to the discredit of certain persons who may not have that political mileage or that connection or that favoritism, all right, from the topper or the upper echelon in government. Like I said, these are interesting times. Now today, if you had joined us during the New Nigeria debate this afternoon, we had an honorable of the ADC, or former honorable of the ADC, who talked about what is going on, within that political party. And according to what he said he had left, that the old individuals who obviously were the foundation members of the ADC are being pushed out by the new party members. And the question we're asking is, these new members that entered, which is the David Mark led group, weren't they consulted when they were coming in? Wasn't adequate measures taken to incorporate the old and the new? And apparently some of the persons who have been in the ADC before the David Mark group came also have interests in occupying certain positions across all the states, wards and local governments. What I mean by that is, this particular honorable was vying to be a House of Rep member on the Lagos State, representing Ikorodu constituency. That was what he wanted, and that was what he was actually vying for. So apparently there is a clash between those who have been there and those who have just come to join. But however, some members in the ADC are saying everything is calm, everything is okay. 36 state chairmen sued the ADC, that is the David Mark faction, to court. And also, we're hearing of another group who have been authenticated by the court to be recognized as the sole chairman of the court, that's the Nafiu Bala faction. Now, as it stands, we don't know how soon that matter will be resolved, because if it is not resolved as soon as possible, then candidates who will emerge from the ADC may be disqualified or not attended to. Well, that would depend on INEC, and that would depend on how the party intend to quickly resolve themselves. Meanwhile, Kwankwaso is to officially get his membership card to join the ADC officially tomorrow. Sources indicate that yes, Kwankwaso had been lobbied, have been talked to, have been supposedly politically seduced to join the ADC. And to prove that was the outing that was experienced on Sunday. Yes, where Peter Obi, Seriaka Dixon, Sheyi Makinde, as well as a host of others went to visit Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso. And before you know, the entire space was driven with Obi Kwankwaso, despite Kwankwaso trying to clarify that it was just a visit. But then maybe this was to cement, Kwankwaso joining the ADC. Why are we talking about the political parties and their respective candidates? These are the persons who believe they can do better than what Bola Ahmed Tinubu is currently doing. These are the people who believe that they can deliver true dividends of democracy to Nigerians. These are the people who believe that their own prospects and modus operandi will be preferable and better to relieve Nigerians from the doldrum that they have found themselves in. So, with all of this, are they the right candidates to posited to take over President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Will they position this government in the right path? What exactly would they do different that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not doing? If Bola Ahmed Tinubu's policies on paper seems to be in contrast to the reality, who says that theirs will not be the same? Persons who belong to these opposition parties, who are the financial heavyweights, are currently going through it with the ICPC and the DSS. I'm speaking of El Rufai and Malami. Malami's property sealed off. He has not even been done to rest from the bail. The next thing, they came to seal off his property. Same thing too is happening with El Rufai. El Rufai's trial has been extended to the 31st of March in a few days, where he intends to be given bail. So again, the idea is for them not to get themselves into any political circus for now, while they, engage them with their cases in court. And they're talking about how the court process has been maligned again, and it started from the administration of Muhammadu Buhari. A couple of persons are saying let Malami go through it, that he deserves it because he was the one who started all of this. Ladies and gentlemen, as like I said, Nigeria's political space is questionable at this time. There is no integrity, there is no accountability, there is more selfishness, self-centeredness to people-oriented policies. Manifestos as being written is not what is being displayed, and the government of the day claims that they're doing something about it, but the reality on ground proves otherwise. So the big question we're going to ask ourselves today, while we continue the conversation, is at what point will we say any judicial statement or any convicted process from the court, how should Nigerians take it hook, line and sinker to be truth? If any process from the court or any conviction from the court, if the gavel has been put down, how do you take it to be the absolute truth and not be that indeed the judgment was fair? It's something to be considered, in the long run, in the whole. And while Nigerians are going through this, at what point will Nigerians decide that they can no longer continue to go through all of what is happening? When will they speak up? That's what we do right here, right, on this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, these are indeed interesting times. Meanwhile, while all of this is taking place, another person who had worked with this administration has come out to call out the government of the day by saying that Nigeria is in deeper trouble, like a huge trouble, when this administration came on board. But Nigerians criticized what he said because they believe that Buhari's administration plunged us into this, and that possibly President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration decided to, cement the entire thing. Former Special Advisor to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on political matters, Hakeem Baba, says Nigeria is currently in deeper trouble than when Tinubu came in as president in 2023. He made this statement today because he was responding to questions via an interview. He said that the president knows that he has failed and that speaking on the state of Nigeria as a nation, from economy down to security, they haven't even tried at all. He says we are in deeper trouble. Violence is becoming a lot more serious than they anticipated. So it means that they anticipated insecurity. So who are these persons who were anticipating that insecurity will be worse? All right. He also said that 3 years into this administration, they are seeing an escalation in the pattern of violence and its magnitude and impact on the people that they have never seen before. And that the president had indeed promised to put an end to insecurity and to create a new path for Nigeria, creating a new living condition for Nigerians and make life safer and more abundant. But the reality on ground is a complete contrast. It's the opposite of what the president has said. For example, some communities across the country has been in total darkness for months. Some communities, no transformer available. Some communities, no access to water supply. Nigerians are the ones providing power for themselves. And Adelabu, the Minister of Power, coming out to apologize to Nigerians by saying, yes, they haven't done right, but that we should calm down, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will fix it. He says the president is fixing it. So when will the president fix it? Is it in this crushing heat wave where only those in Band A are enjoying about 14, 15 or 12 hours power supply, while others in other bands are experiencing maybe 35 minutes or 1 hour or most 2 hours in an entire day? This will cripple economic activities, especially for, soft entrepreneurs, small businesses that are trying to stay afloat and that may not be able to afford the Band A sequencing in terms of, the bills for Band A. Then there are even accumulated estimations for certain persons who do not even have prepaid meter. There are big companies, hospitality companies, that are like providing alternative source of energy for themselves. And others are calling on the president that with the situation with Iran, it's obvious that Nigeria does not have an oil reserve. So how would you mitigate this? What's your stopgap? All right, because once fuel increases, food items across board or every item being utilized by Nigerians will be very expensive. So the question is, what exactly are you doing to mitigate these factors? What exactly are you doing to mitigate these challenges? Okay, nobody has given any address. Nobody has told Nigerians anything. Nobody has explained anything. That these are the consequences of the kind of governance that Nigerians have found themselves. So in other words, while some Nigerians are groaning and expecting the opposition to wake up to their responsibility so they can galvanize and structure themselves to see how they can supposedly be a main challenge for the APC in 2027. Who amongst this opposition is viable, is credible, is strong enough to give Nigerians their desired form of leadership that prioritizes their interests? Ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you that if anyone expects anything beyond what we are seeing, well, I do not know, but these are challenging times and more developments will take place. In the same vein, while we look into all of this, there are talks, however, of assimilation in government. Yes, most government officials who have been incapable of carrying on their responsibilities may be reassigned. We have not been told when or how, but we've been told they may be reassigned. Is it going to be after the election, since the president feels positive that he's coming back for his second term, especially those who have not shown any form of adequacy? All right, adequacy and tenacity in the positions that were given, that they may be changed. But Nigerians are saying that is already too late. It's something that ought to have happened a long time ago, as all ministries, parastatals and agencies who have all this personnel are literally not performing to their optimum capacity. So if the government of the day that gave them that appointment is not holding them accountable, then why it's now you're considering reassigning? Is actually too late. They're seeing that as a political maneuver. But hey, how can we tell? While in Lagos State we have heard that for the governorship respect for 2027, Hamzat is being considered, and that the lobbying with the GAC is already what's going on. Is that true? We're thinking, what's his name? Ambode is a person that will be considered. But hey, it's a long run. They've not said anything yet. Lobbying is still ongoing, but Hamza seems to be the preferred candidate, or the supposed choice, anointed candidate, as it seems like. and that is also affecting the federal structure of the APC at the executive level, where the nomination and expression of interest forms for the APC have caused internal rifts, particularly in the lead up to the March 2026 National Convention and various state level contests. Key issues driving the conflict include allegations of hoarding forms, exorbitant costs, and the imposition of candidates, which have led to petitions, protests, and threatened defections within the party. Now, for the South, there are allegations that the APC leadership is holding the nomination forms to exclude candidates who are not considered anointed. And basically, to buy forms in that particular hierarchy, 5.1 million naira, all right, alleging that there are about 600 aspirants facing the same situation for national positions. They're facing the same similar difficulties. Also, that's not the only thing, and I'm talking about the zonal vice chairman, 5.1 million naira for that interest form. Also, for the cost of forms for governorship, it's been increased to 22.5 million naira, and State House of Assembly forms reaching 1.1 million naira, which is causing concerns, particularly amongst younger prospective aspirants. Going by the number of registrants in the All Progressives Congress, there are a lot of young persons who joined who want to get into the political space. They've been encouraged to saturate the National Assembly, House of Rep, the council wards, even local government. This is the era of the youth. I remember when Yowata was saying that indeed most of the entrants or new registrants in the APC are young persons. So the big question was, how will these young persons afford the money to buy nomination of interest forms if it is not subsidized, if it is not put in a level where everyone can access it? So if it is this expensive, it's obvious that these young registrants, young bloods who have joined the political space, may still not have an opportunity to be part of the system unless they are anointed by a certain person who is at the hierarchy. Also, they're talking about the fact that this anointed candidate syndrome, which obviously occurs in Lagos State, where preferred candidates are actually chosen by the local council chairman. They sign on the forms for a specific candidate while bypassing others. They said that this has led to accusation of factionalism, favoritism, and exclusion, which has obviously been one of the issues that has caused past conflicts in the party. Then there is also the fact that in Edo State, the nomination of interest form for governorship also caused controversy, with the National Publicity Secretary having to clarify that the process was open to all. There's also the local government election in states like Cross River, where the cost of forms for chairmanship was 15 million naira, and the alleged preference for certain is considered to be non-transparent, causing dissatisfaction amongst party members with warnings of potential mass defections. But the big question is, can they defect? No. They can no longer defect now with the renewed Electoral Act. Once you're now a digital member, you've digitally registered with the party, the deadline is the 2nd of April. By the 2nd of April, all the registrants, everything needs to be submitted to INEC, especially those who are interested in running for one position or the other. And they would also need to revalidate. That is why INEC met with party members today. They will also need to revalidate what exactly is stipulated, so to ensure that certain persons are not having any dual registration, because that will deem them disqualified. These are potent issues that worries lots of Nigerians, especially those who are actively getting into politics. The essence in Nigeria here for getting into politics is that you think you can make a change in a system that is hugely corrupt. The corruption index in this country is bad, and the brazenness with which the corruption is carried out is what is alarming. I mean, for this current dispensation, they don't even hide it. You know, they rub it in your face, and it's like, what would you do? If you talk, what would you say? If institutions that are meant to enforce objectivity and justice seems to have been bought over, then where else will one rely on, aside from anticipating being part of the elections in 2027, where certain persons are able to decide for themselves by saying, we will no longer allow the system that continues to treat us the way they treat us, like slaves, or that we no longer matter in the grand scheme of things, or where we cannot ask questions as to where our monies are going, what our taxpayers' monies are being used for, what monies that are borrowed are used for, and what is the evidence of either infrastructures or social amenities provided that will be evidence of the monies being borrowed from either the World Bank or the International Monetary Fund. Ladies and gentlemen, I must confess to you that the myriad of challenges currently bedeviling Nigeria is a wholesome one. It takes all of us to particularly activate to ensure that this mess that we have found ourselves, by certain leaders, we're the only ones who can get ourselves out of it. I'll be speaking with a legal practitioner very soon. But Ifesa Lako, good evening. How are you? Where are you now? Okay, I think if I still in a meeting, I don't think he has even left where he is at this time. If Salako is the person we're supposed to have this evening, we already know that there's a political season, so a lot of them may not avail themselves one meeting or the other. We're hoping that he comes around very soon, but if that's not the case, I would like to connect with Barister Fred Nzako. He would be giving us some insights into what is currently taking place and what retired Justice Ayo Salami said concerning Peter Obi in respect of him. He should not have been allowed to contest the 2023 general elections. What is the legal background for that? I think that explanation will need to be given to us. In the meantime, we'll take a very short break. Obviously, the evening rush continues. To kindly stay with us.
House dey dark and nepa bill dey choke. E dey worry you as e dey affect your business. So Solution don come. Imagine say you wake up for morning, light no shake, fridge don block, business no get wahala, everything dey okay. No be dream o. With Yohaku, na you dey control your light. Yohaku dey sell gas cooker, freezer, fridge, and dem go furnish you with modern kitchen o. Whether na inverter, batteries, panels, smart street lights, be na solar AC system wey you wan use for house, business, abi for industrial work, Yohaku stand chim to help you. Bye to NEPA bill o. No wait till transformer go spoil again o. Oya run call Yohaku for 070-121-30260 or 080-324-82573, or you fit to call 080-669-60066. For Lagos, we dey for shop F1179 industrial section, Ojo Alaba International Market, or shop G6 electronic section, Alaba International Market, Headline, Uche Ubochi Plaza, Abuja office na Corporate 13, Dubai International Market, back of Games Village, Karu District for Abuja. For Port Harcourt, we dey for number 51, Oporo Road, Eziowa Elite.
All right, welcome back. This is still the Evening Rush right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. Our Barister Fred Nzako joining us via the telephone. Barister, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Fine, Barister. Well, we already know what is happening, and this is the season where a lot of drama will take place. So, did you see this video where taekwondo, upper courts and lower courts were being rendered between certain individuals in a mosque? Apparently, they were given money to share for Eid. Based on the report we heard about, the video was that they were the Hausa and the Fulanese, but they were like in a mosque. It was in the north. They were given money to share, and then the next thing it turned to an upright fight. Barister, chairs were thrown. Anyone watching us on YouTube, I'm sure they can see the video. Chairs were thrown at people. We were seeing some Tai Chi and Taekwondo. We're seeing nose blows and all of that. So, I mean, when did it get to this point for us? Is this part of the politics?
Esther, the reality in Nigeria is that there is so much hunger in the land. The reality is that there is so much frustration. There is so much desperation. There is so much problem that bedevil the everyday Nigerian. Living in Nigeria has become very, very Herculean, very, very tasking, and very, very disturbing. So anytime people have opportunity to collect something free, they become very desperate. And unfortunately, the leaders, the people who were elected to lead, the people who were elected to make life better for the people, are now capitalizing on the desperation in the land to further their political interests over and above the interests of the people. And that is exactly what you saw. And not because it was a mosque, it could have as well been in a church, it can be in a school, it can be in any gathering. We had a conference, Nigerian Bar Association conference, and when food was being distributed, some lawyers were scampering for food. I was so disturbed. Some of us were very, very disturbed that some people could not have the patience to wait for the thing to come to them because they were not confident that the food will go round. And some who could not scamper for the food, we waited. We were just watching. And the truth of the expectation of those who were scampering for the food did not go round. Now you could see why there was that stampede. In every environment where there is not enough, the natural tendency is for people to rush. And that is why it is always very important. I used the lawyer's setting not to demean my learned colleagues, but to tell you that if such a thing could happen in a community of learned, noble lawyers, how much less other citizens? When politicians fight on the floor of National Assembly, do you think they are fighting because they love Nigerians? They are fighting because they feel shortchanged. The problem between Akpabio and Natasha started by removing Natasha from a committee that she felt was juicy, and all hell let loose. The problem you see sometimes, the fighting, the throwing of chairs in National Assembly, the so-called hollow chambers, is mostly not because of the principle of lawmaking or the fact that they were disagreeing on interest and on issues and on principles for the generality of Nigerian people, but essentially and primarily because they are fighting for their interests, selfish, personal interests, either fiduciary or political positional interests. So, well, one could easily say that in every human environment that there is bound to be such stampede. But you have to juxtapose such stampede with the realities of hunger, realities of frustration, and realities of hopelessness in the land. It was not like this before. And as we continue to move forward on the trajectory of bad governance, such desperation will continue to increase naturally. And it should worry every Nigerian. And as we approach 2027, if Nigerians don't borrow themselves sense, then not only will they begin to throw chairs in the mosque, they will begin to even draw daggers in public places. Because politicians, many of them, care less about the interests of the rest. And that is what we must all guide our loins, ensure that those who just want to go to office for personal aggrandizement are not given that opportunity, because it's a golden and rare opportunity of trust on behalf of the people.
All right, Barister, let's look at former President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Issa Ayo Salami, saying that former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi ought not to have been allowed to contest the 2023 presidential election under the platform of the Labour Party. Now, this is what he said his reason was. He said that indeed there are some judges who are incompetent and that there are bad eggs. There are those who are also inadequate and inexperienced, and that it is quite unfortunate that these are the persons who occupy the bar, all right, the higher status, and he considers them quite an embarrassment. So according to the retired judge, he says that Obi's candidacy in the 2023 presidential election should have been disallowed based on constitutional provisions. The reason why I actually called you is to help us interpret if indeed what he's saying aligns with the truth. Now, Salami stated that, for instance, Peter Obi ought not be allowed to contest, that in this sense, by the time he lost the PDP primary, I want to understand, what did Peter Obi contest the PDP primary before he defected to the Labour Party? Okay, so he says that by the time Peter Obi lost the PDP primary, Labour Party had submitted its list of members to the Independent National Electoral Commission, and that the Constitution says that there can be no independent candidacy. So how did he become a candidate of the Labour Party if he does not belong to the Labour Party? That's what he used as an example to say Peter Obi should have been disallowed. Now, Salami also cited the case of Kano State Governor in reference, or to buttress his point about Peter Obi being disallowed, that Abba Yusuf had a similar issue whereby his name was not even registered. All right, he was not registered, but they issued him a membership card, and that the registrar is supposed to be the mother of the card. Barister, quickly, how do you react to this?
Esther, there's an old saying that says that when an old man falls, he looks backwards, but when a young person falls, he looks forward. Honorable Justice Ayo Issa Salami, he has been out of the picture, out of the public picture for a very long time. I recall when we protested and marched on his behalf when he was elevated as the president of the Court of Appeal. Honorable Justice Aloysius Alo elevated him to the Supreme Court, and he said no, that he wouldn't go to the Supreme Court, that he was comfortable presiding over the Court of Appeal. It became an issue. We marched on his behalf because he was seen then as a jurist of integrity. I do not want to disparage his integrity, neither would I want to join issues with him. But let me allow him to enjoy his misunderstanding of the issue. But for the benefit of our dear listeners, let me make it very abundantly clear. 2022 Electoral Act provides that anybody who has run party primaries in one party will not run the same primary for the same position in another political party. And that was why Mr. Peter Obi, when he saw that with the knowledge of that provision of the act, and when he saw that it was becoming difficult in PDP, as it were, for him to either run for presidency or even be nominated by whoever that won to become the running mate, then the horizon was not clear. He moved on to Labour Party. He never contested for primaries in PDP. But it is very curious that Honorable Josiah Salami used Peter Obi as an example.
Exactly, that's what I was wondering. Why was that an example?
Maybe he had been enlisted to join the army of Peter Obi's traducers, because that is what most people have become these days, especially those who are against his ascendancy to the presidency.
Because there are other electoral and judicial inadequacies, judgments that were taken that did not make sense, that were opaque, that he could have referenced.
I'm coming. The curiosity lies in the fact that Godswill Akpabio did not even contest for senatorial primaries in his constituency, but eventually he was allowed to run for the senatorial election, and today he is the president. Ahmed Lawan ran for seat of the president and did not even contest for that of the Senate, but eventually he was allowed to. By the time Supreme Court allowed him, because the matter went up to Supreme Court, when Alhaji Machina drew the matter up to the Supreme Court. By the time Supreme Court gave their judgment, we criticized the learned justice of Supreme Court. I remember vividly that I was one of the very few people that criticized the justice of Supreme Court, that we are truncating our Electoral Act and the provision of the Electoral Act. And Rochas Okorota, remember when he asked the Senate President that he must have performed magic by dumping all of them who ran on the same pedestal, and how he managed to run and become a senator. Why I use this man as an example is that these are all APC people. But curiously, Honorable Justice Salami did not use any of them for his example. He now went to use P2B, who did not even run for primaries in PDP. P2B left early enough and resigned officially from PDP and was brought into Labour Party. Now, if he was saying that the list of the membership list has been submitted to INEC, there is no provision in our laws, I stand to be corrected, that says that you will not join a political party or run for any position through that party if the list has been submitted to INEC. Issue of party membership list is a continuous process. It's not like you coming to say that voters register has been closed. You don't close it until a few days to the election. In fact, the closure is just for administrative purposes, so that they will be able to capture and take care of people who will vote by giving them the permanent voters card and the rest of them. Otherwise, you could even, if we adopted the principle whereby we will use our national identity for election, as is practiced in other countries, voter register can be open until 24 hours before the election. So I think it is very, very curious that Honorable Justice Salami will draw himself out of his retirement, and having not been in public space for a very long time, will now jump into the fray to begin to talk about P2B. If he will have my ears, I would advise him to just ignore those who are drawing him out, because they will mess up his integrity and drag him to the mud. So many things can be brought up, because the very moment anybody throws himself into political ring, then they will begin to tell the person his father married his mother. And I can tell you that there is nobody who has served this country at any level whose cupboard, even if you don't see a big cockroach, you will see those Brazilian cockroaches that are in the kitchen in his cupboard. So I think that I will honorably and honestly and humbly advise my learned chief president of the Court of Appeal, Honorable Mr. Salami, is then one, to distance himself from politics, because the way politics is played in Nigeria, it does not suit his own person. His integrity will be dragged to the mud, and they are beginning to use him to disparage P2B, because all the efforts they have been making to use the others have not worked. Now Peter is aligning very strongly. They say he's not a bridge builder. Today, he's not only building bridges, he's building flyovers across all parts of the country. Solid bridges, like of international standard. And the people in Asodok and other places in power are becoming to be afraid. And that is why they are drawing out the noble old man to come and use him to join the political fray. And like I said earlier, he should run very far from this man.
All right, but Barister Fred, let's look at the reality on ground, okay? And let's be very frank, because I invited somebody who was in Labour Party who defected to ADC because of his principal, Mr. Peter Obi. He was supposed to come give us precisely what the standing in the ADC currently right there is. There are internal wranglings which the party leaders have not really addressed, but there is this personnel of everything is going accordingly and there is no need, or there is nothing to worry about. But there are lingering court cases. Some persons have been taken to court. The David Mark leadership and those who were in the ADC earlier, before the David Mark leadership came on board, they're in court. There is also a court conviction that supposedly recognizes the other faction, Nafiu Bala, while the David Mark group has not publicly addressed it, but they are calling it an APC thing. They are saying the APC is trying to wreak havoc in their party. Now, here's the thing, Barister. 36 state chairman of the ADC sued the David Mark leadership to court. And what is the reason? That there are persons who have been in the ADC before they came and met them, all right? And that they are trying to impose their own people to replace the positions of those who have been there, which is what the APC is being accused of. That the supposed democratic values that the ADC tends to represent is not what is taking place. Now, Barister, that's one aspect. The second aspect is this. Peter Obi and Kwankwaso, So because of the meeting they had during the weekend on Sunday precisely, remember it was not just Peter Obi that was invited. What's his name? Senator Seriaka Dixon was invited. Sheyi Makinde was invited. Bala Mohammed was also invited, and a host of others. But there was a mammoth crowd. You know, they were chanting Kwankwaso Obi. So there were talks that, okay, maybe this is what the recent coalition is all about. There's a coalition within the coalition. We now heard that tomorrow, Kwankwaso would officially be getting his membership card in the ADC. And there were talks that maybe an agreement has been reached that a Kwankwaso deputy, Peter Obi president. What now happens to Atiku?
Esther, such a question, what happens to Atiku, is a malevolent question that usually comes out from the mouth of APC.
Okay.
Yes, I say this very advisedly because they should not be taking paracetamol for the headache of another person. They should allow Atiku to decide what will happen to him. What they have been doing is to stoke up emotional sentiments in the minds of Atiku and his followers. Atiku is a student statesman. They know they can't hoodwink him, but they may hoodwink his followers who may not understand the dynamic of Nigerian politics and the desperate and urgent need to rescue Nigeria from the hands of terrible misgovernance of APC. The need is very urgent, very desperate, and that's why Mr. Peter Obi said that he is not desperate to be a president, but he is desperate to see a country that works. And he means it. He is very, very desperate to see a Nigeria that works, a Nigeria that will provide for the citizens, even the ones yet unborn. Unlike the current government that is only keeping huge debts for the citizens yet unborn, moving Nigerian debt from 48 trillion to 154 trillion in less than 3 years. Is that a government that works? So anybody who begins to say, oh, what becomes of Atiku? Atiku has told everybody who cared to listen that he is not desperate. They are trying to impute desperation into his policies. He is not. If he was a desperate politician, in 2003, he would have run against President Obasanjo because almost the 90% of PDP governors then wanted to discard President Obasanjo because they didn't understand him. Obasanjo had to beg Atiku to support him. And Atiku, in his good statesman nature, called those governors and pleaded with them to allow Obasanjo to do a second tenure. Unfortunately, instead of Obasanjo to respect such honor, Obasanjo started thinking about top 10. I was one of the first people that knew about Obasanjo's top 10. I was to give a world press conference in Abuja in 2003 under the coalition of Atiku for President 2007. We looked at all the dynamics and we felt Atiku was the most appropriate person to become the president in 2007, even on geopolitical balancing, because then power was to shift to the north. And as at then, the northeast had not produced a president, and up to today, the northeast has not. So we felt that if power was to go to the north, Atiku was to be the right person. Age was on his side, experience was on his side as a vice president for 8 years, but all that has become history. And why did I bring that into focus? I did that to show you that Atiku is not a desperate politician. He's a statesman, more of a statesman. And in a bid to tarnish him because of the vengeance of that 2003, Obasanjo went and wrote a book and tried to tarnish Atiku's integrity. Those traducers and those who don't want Atiku to become now went and climbed onto the book. Obasanjo has apologized over that and said it was anger taken too far. But what is written is written. Even with his apology, he has caused harm. But that harm was not deep because he had 12 cases against Atiku, all to the Supreme Court, and Atiku won all of them. So I do not want to disparage for Obasanjo because he has done his bit. I am one person who respects elderly statesmen because you cannot see and know it all. And today, with the benefit of hindsight, he is leading Nigeria in a direction and telling the people, look, I have been here for a long time, old enough, experienced enough to tell you people where to go. And where is Obasanjo pointing today? In the election of Peter Obi, he didn't start today. In 2003 and 2023, he was very strongly in support of Peter Obi. Unfortunately, the victory was robbed, yet Obasanjo didn't deter. And that is why nobody should begin to insult Baba, because Baba is not only that he has the experience, now he has the passion to ensure that Nigeria gets better in his lifetime. And I pray that it does. And I also pray that Nigerians should join hands to ensure that we rescue this country, because everything starts and falls from leadership. The fish rottens from the head. If the leadership is not correct, no matter how you try to work the body politics, it cannot be correct. It cannot. So nobody will tell you, oh, what of Atiku? Atiku has said that he's not the only one. Any other person can become president as far as Nigeria is working.
All right. So, Barister Fred, let's look at the reality here, because I know now that you are in the ADC as well. So I think to get the right information on certain things, it would be nice to come from you to clarify. So here is the thing. In Enugu, 3 days or 4 days ago, Peter Obi said that he wished he could certainly tell his supporters, that's the Obidients, that he is sure of getting that ticket, but that he himself, he will be lying to them if he tells them that he is sure or certain of it, but that he will work hard, he will fight for it. All right, he would prove his worth and make sure that, you know, he does what is needed, which is try to galvanize, mobilize, build bridges, and ensure that more registrants from the southern zone comes in. But so far, from the records we've heard, the highest registrants are from the north. The southern votes is quite low. I mean, if you make a comparison from the southeast to the northwest and the northeast, the contrast is very huge. The southwest has recorded very poor in terms of number of registrants. You have more southeast and south registrants than southwest, and then more of the northern coming for Atiku. So imagine if a primary is to be conducted now and you're having these kind of semantics, all right, for the candidates who have disclosed their intent to run. Let's say Atiku has an edge and he wins the ticket. Do you think Peter Obi will accept to be vice? And if Peter Obi declines that position of vice, do you think the momentum to support Atiku or whoever it is that emerges aside from Peter Obi will remain strong, specifically by certain supporters of Peter Obi?
There is no thinking, because all those headache from such thinking may not be useful. I say this because no politician will tell you that he is sure of the ticket. If not for the stick and carrot approach deployed by the presidency, do you think that if they throw the ticket open, in all honesty, in APC, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will get the ticket? Do you think? But they had closed that contest. They just adopted Mr. President. Recall when APC had a convention in Yobe, a mini convention in Yobe. It was their next meeting, mini convention in Yobe, when under the then chairman, who was the governor of the state, before the new chairman was before no, he was Ganduje. Ganduje was chairman then.
Yes, before Mentora.
Yes, before Datawa was elected chairman.
Yes,
an appointed chairman. Ganduje, in that convention of APC, they adopted President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as their sole candidate for 2027. The Northeast faction or sector of the party expected them to also adopt Alhaji Kashim Shettima as the running mate. They said they did not adopt him. They pursued Ganduje to beat him up. Ganduje ran away. They grabbed his abada, he tore his abada, and he ran away to safety. Why did they want to beat him up? Because they say he was manipulating the process. That if President Tinubu was adopted as the sole candidate, that Alhaji Shettima should also be adopted. They say no, that it was one ticket that Mr. President will when he now holds the ticket, he will now appoint Shetima as running mate. But I can tell you, Esther, that one of the biggest headaches that APC has today is who to make their running mate. If they drop Shetima, it's a problem. If they keep Shetima, it's a problem. So when you even think that other parties have more problems, no. The party with the biggest problem in Nigeria today is APC. Forget the optics and all the shakara of we have 31 governors, we have 80 senators, we have so and so. Yes, we agree. But the party with the biggest headache today is APC. Obviously, they have dropped the presidential ticket for Mr. President. Zero contest, no problem. Who becomes the vice? If he retains Shetima, Muslim ticket that has become a very sore point in their process, will rear it on the head again. Meanwhile, international community is watching, especially America. If they drop Shetima, the North, that is predominantly Muslim, many of them don't even believe in the Islamic structure of the president. You read it, when they write it, they speak it, they say Mr. President is a true Muslim. What they mean?
But why would they say so? How Islamic should the president be for them to be convinced?
I don't know. What they mean by that, I don't know. That tells you the subjective nature of Nigerian politics, where they will bring in all manner of mundane things. Oh, Mr. President's wife is a Christian, therefore he's not a good Muslim. I tell you, we need to grow above some of these mundane considerations. But it is still the same politicians that will be using such mundane considerations when it suits them. And when it doesn't suit them, they will begin to ask the people, oh, don't think like that. And when you go to my 12, where there's a potpourri of tribes in the country, you will see the Hausa, the Yoruba, the Fulani, the Igbo, the Kupe, the Kanuri, all of them mingling and doing their businesses without issue. But when a politician goes there now to campaign, they begin to tell them, you are white, you are black, you are colored. It is politicians in Nigeria that are infusing in the people the tendencies of division. When Mr. President is appointing people into offices and he is putting his people in quote, because it does not translate to goodness to the downtrodden. It does not translate to goodness. Today there is no light everywhere. The minister for power is a Yoruba man. Are Yoruba people not suffering lack of power?
Everybody is suffering.
Everybody is suffering. So the average itinerant hairdresser or the barber or the welder that is operating in a barber at Molete or Challenge, does it bother him that the minister for power is his brother in quote, brother that he does not see? And it is still again politicians that are putting into the minds of Nigerians all these divisive tendencies of nepotism. And that is why we keep asking the president that the crafters of the constitution who put in the federal currency principle are not foolish, because they see it as a principle that will bring equity, unity in diversity, and inclusiveness. But what do we see today? Everything is lopsided. Everything is nepotistic. Everything is Spanish, ethnic, and religious. At the end of the day, how do you expect the country to grow? How do you expect to carve out a patriotic citizenry in an environment of nepotism and inequity and lack of justice? So, whatever you sow, you reap. APC is doing it today. APC has been doing it since 2015. Muhammad Buhari did it. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing it at a promise level. The country is not getting better. And I tell you, I have observed Nigerian environment and economic situation that the country decayed by the decade. How can other parts of the world, their life is improving, but here, the lives of the people is deteriorating? If we had 3 million people living in abject poverty under Buhari, today we have 74 million people. Is it not a sign of deterioration? Somebody will come and tell me that we are using mobile phone. Is it not technology from the West? Can we manufacture stuff in bicycle? Even the ones that we manufacture in Nigeria, have they not all been away? Today there's no light everywhere. After investing over $70 billion in energy since 2000. So are we making progress as a nation? And when we come for restructuring so that we will set this country, they say we don't know what we're talking about. We are in it to go down. Everybody go there collect them.
All right, Barrister. Finally, before I let you go, with what Nigerians are currently complaining about, with the kind of governance that we're experiencing. I remember when I spoke earlier today, we talked about how corruption is the order of the day, brazenly carried out. And the reason why Nigerians are looking forward or ahead of the 2027 election is that they feel that somehow they can now make the change that is required constitutionally. At least this time, if they come out to protest, there'll be no security personnel to prevent them or detain them, all right, and not even give them access to proper representation by any counsel or any legal practitioner. So that is when they know it's a free-for-all for them to say, you know what, this is what we want and this is what we decide. And that's why they're trying to follow up with events in the polity. So amongst all of these aspirants that have expressed their interest to occupy the seat of power that supposedly is meant to serve, that position is meant to serve the people, not to serve themselves. Which one of these guys has the capacity to do better than what we're currently experiencing?
Which guys are you talking about? The gladiators. Every political party has its gladiators, those who are angling to become president. You see why that office of the president is so important? It's because of the executive nature of that office. The office of that president is so powerful. So powerful that if you put the right man there, a lot of things will change positively. If you mistakenly put the wrong man there, so many things will get bad even from day one, as we experienced from May 29, 2023. Things started getting bad that from that day, because we have allowed the wrong person to plan the chair. And that is why Nigerians are upbeat about 2027. Otherwise, the terrible experience, the terrible disappointment given to people by INEC in 2023 ordinarily was enough to dampen the spirit and the morale of every electorate. But you cannot, we cannot, and we should not, because the very moment you allow your morale to go low, that means you have yielded the ground for incompetence and inefficiency to overrun the country permanently. So the people must stand their ground. This doctrine of no grief for anybody must be reenacted in 2027 so that Nigerians will, by their hands, determine their leadership. And that is the irreducible minimum expected of INEC. People who love this country and who mean well to INEC, for INEC, and want INEC to succeed, have collectively warned INEC about any infraction. No matter the looter, no matter the inducement, no matter the question, INEC must behave like a former OT who neglected and disallowed the pressure mounted on her in Abia State and delivered a credible election. And she is an example of the fact that anything that is worth doing is worth doing well, and that INEC can do it well. If INEC officials come to the antics of politicians and deliver a wishy-washy election, history will not be kind to them. And not just history, even the present situation will be very, very brutal with them. So they should. It's not by force. If you don't want to work, resign. But if you want to work well, that is the mistake to INEC. Because I've always maintained that you cannot rig an election successfully without the collaboration of INEC. You cannot. from all agencies of the electoral, INEC must collaborate at one time, at some point or the other. Yes, there are other stakeholders, the security agencies, the politicians themselves, and even the citizenry. Yes, but the principal stakeholder in election management issues is INEC. And if they stand their ground, this will work well. When they still INEC that stood its ground under of the wars in 1993. We also saw INEC that similarly took its ground under propaganda in 2015, even though there was very much pressure because we had a good man on the seat. But if those men could do it, I believe that it is doable. And the way woman is watching Nigeria, the dynamic of international politics is changing and changing very fast. Because so many things that you think that the doctrine of sovereignty would ignore. These days, such things are no longer ignored. Because an injury to one is now seen at international setting as injury to all. Any cataclysm that happens in a country, any upheaval that happens in a country, especially a country with large population like Nigeria, will inevitably affect the rest of the world. The rest of the world cannot affect to allow that because of the globalization of the world requires that what goes on at one point and that global village must be the concern of others. It is a warning as an international school. It is a warning to Nigeria.
All right, Barister, thank you very much. You seem to be fading off and on. I don't know if you're using an earpiece, but I'm trying to get a hold of what you're saying. However, Barister, thank you so much for taking your time and giving us your explanation on some of the questions I asked you. We sincerely do appreciate.
No, I wasn't using earpiece. It was a network. Your network. The country's network that was frustrating our beautiful flow.
All right,
but at any rate, that's all right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
I greet you.
All right, sir. Yes, that was Barister Fred Nzako that we're speaking there, helping us to clarify some of the legal, the legalities, specifically with what retired Justice Ayo Salami said about Peter Obi. Well, he has clarified that Peter Obi did not contest any primary in the PDP, so I don't know where the Justice Ayo Salami is coming from and the context that he needed to reference that. But hey, this is politics. Anything can roll out from anyone, specifically indicating what they want to indicate. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take your insight into the conversations we had this evening. The number to call is 080-3692-9933, 080-3692-9933, and the WhatsApp number is 0817-1756-338, 0817-1756-338. That is a WhatsApp number for you to call to be part of the conversation. If you're listening to me and you're actually being part of this program, watching us via YouTube in the diaspora, you can call us on WhatsApp. Okay, so the WhatsApp number is 0817-1756-338, 0817-1756-338, and then the number to call is 080-3692-9933, 080-3692-9933. Calls on WhatsApp. Help me activate it. So yes, while we're waiting on that, the calls on WhatsApp, some of you who are trying to connect us on WhatsApp, the number to call and also send your messages to is 080-3692-9933. Yes, we are active right now, ladies and gentlemen, so you can be part of the conversation this evening. Hello, good evening. How are you? Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Welcome. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Raphael. I'm calling from Nigeria.
Your name is what, sir?
Raphael.
Mr. Raphael. Okay, please speak up. Thank you very much. Calling from where?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. You say your name is Raphael. Calling from where, sir? All right, I think you cannot hear me. Please kindly call us back. Hello, good evening. How are you? 080-3692-9933. If you're calling on WhatsApp, please have a very good network. Okay, let your connection be strong enough. Hello, good evening.
Hi.
Good evening, sir. What's your name, please?
My name is Tijoka, and this is the first time of calling this station. I've been listening to you, but this is my first time of calling this station.
Oh, Chijuke. God bless you. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. The only thing I want to say concerning what people are saying is that this is supposed to be a case of what happened between Moses and the Israelites in the Red Sea. When they want to call the Red Sea, it seemed that it was a very difficult something. But to the glory of God, Moses, the leader, told them to see what God can do. And they saw what God did. So it's like a case of Nigeria. The problem is that we, the masses, we have not allowed God to do his work by, praying to God or believing in God. We have been believing on those politicians. That's why they are using us anyhow they want. But we are looking, anything can happen. We don't know what will happen, but this.
Oh, Chijuke, please kindly call us back, okay? Your connection went off. Hello, good evening. How are you? Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you? Welcome. Hello, good evening. Please speak. Hello? All right.
Yes, Esther, I can hear you.
But you're not speaking. You're not speaking. What's your name, please? Okay, kindly call us back. It seems your network is not really okay. Hello, good evening. How are you? 08036929933. That's the number to call. 08036929933. Hello.
Hello, Esther.
Good evening, Malam Bello.
Yeah, thank you very much, Esther.
How you doing?
Alhamdulillah, fine.
All right, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. I greet your guest.
Oh, he's fine.
You see, I don't talk anyhow, and whatever that I don't know about, I can never tell you. If you remember, I told you about Prince William. What happens to him in Lagos State when he was trying to contest for the governor of Lagos State.
Yes.
And some people see the victory in him, and at the end of the day, you saw something that everyone said something that happened to him. That was why I told you people that time that you people should be very, very careful and be watchful in case if anything happened to His Excellency Peter Obi. And for Terakin Adamawa Abubakar, we believe whatsoever that touches left eye will affect our right eye because we are not going to take it. That one, everybody knows that already. So I told you that it is not up to 2 weeks. What I told you was about to happen in those states where he was attacked. So Elijah Atiku Abubakar, inshallah, will contest for ADC primary, but His Excellency Peter Obi will clinch the ticket. Because if you remember, in 2015, Atiku contest the primary with Buhari. If it is because of money, Atiku will defeat Buhari because Buhari cannot stand him in terms of giving dollars to delegate or whatever. So the same thing, Obi cannot stand Atiku, but Atiku know what he's going to do to make sure that Obi will clinch the ticket. Atiku will buy the nomination fund to fund the party. But inshallah, mark it down. I am telling you this because there's no way that if ADC have their meeting in Kano here, except if I am not aware. If I am aware, I must attend. Do you understand? I am not fully member of ADC, but my vote is for them. And why my vote is for them? I don't believe in sentiments in leadership. I believe dynamic leadership. That is the only thing I believe. And if you consider Atiku, you consider Obi, to be honest with you, Atiku has been a vice president of this country before. I know Atiku's village in Gere. I know his local government. You cannot compare in terms of leadership. You cannot compare Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to Peter Obi in terms of having people in his heart. So that is why some of us here, we have tested all these old politicians that have disappointed this country for a very long time. So now we are with what Obi uses his mouth to tell us, we are going to believe it because there's no way that this current president, even if I contest him with Tinubu come 2027, I will defeat him. Do you know why? Somebody that promised to give you electricity, if you don't give you the electricity, you should not vote it. And he's using solar. Tell me, somebody promised to give you shoe tomorrow and he's wearing slippers today that he's promising to give you shoe tomorrow. Tell me, how can somebody that promised to give you light is using solar? So, do you have any hope of getting light from that person again? So, Thank you very much. May God continue to bless your management for enlightening us. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Malam Bele, for calling. Okay. Hello, Boyson. Thank you for your patience. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening,
Madam Esther Wachuku.
How are you?
Yes, I'm doing okay.
All right. Thank God.
So I don't know. Barister Fred must have left, have you?
Yes.
But I greet him.
Yes.
I greet him for his wonderful explanation. You know that as it is now, some people are bent on disorganizing this ADC, which we see as the only common front for now. So they will try, but they will not succeed. Why I'm saying this is because Nigerians have suffered so much. The pains are there, and the government in power seems not to bother. They seem not to bother. So the only alternative we have now is to make sure. That's why members of this ADC to order. Because I am aware that many Nigerians are going to support them. Just because what we are going through now, I mean, is unthinkable. It is too much. There's no area we can just boast that I can say this government is trying. And look at the way people are suffering. Look at what just happened. Look at the fight, according to them, and what is happening in the Middle East. Look at Nigeria is the worst hit. I don't know why. Nobody's ready. The government is not ready to explain. All we know is the man in charge, his subordinates will come and say this, that, this. But all those things are just propaganda now.
Yes, boys. Unfortunately, we don't have a reserve. The problem is that we don't have a huge reserve capacity for something like this. So anything that happens outside our shores will always affect us. It's not supposed to. Also, we're relying on Dangote's refinery, and it's not supposed to be so. One would have expected the government to build more refineries so that in future we don't get to go through all of this. But it is what it is.
Esther, please don't forget, before this president came on board, he promised this, that, this. But all those things he promised, have we seen anyone? Have we seen anyone work? How are Nigerians now? How were they when this man took over? And what is the position? Can't you see that Nigerians are tired? But you know what baffles me? I must not fail to say this. Some people will still have the effrontery to pick up their phone and say, support evil just because of what? Ethnicity. And by the time Nigerians do away with ethnicity and tribal sentiments, Nigeria will move forward. So I beg Nigerians, please bury your whatever sentiments, religious, this, that. Let's come together and make sure that this APC government is chased out of the Aso Rock. Have a nice day. God bless you.
All right. Thank you very much, boys, and for calling. Okay. Hello. Good evening. How are you?
Esther, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Welcome.
Esther, thank you. Akodiba is my name.
Akodiba, welcome.
Thank you. Esther, my hand have been on my mouth ever since you read this on 6 o'clock news. What Barister, no, I think Judge Ayo Salami said about Peter Obi. I cannot believe what I was hearing. Honestly speaking, it threw me off balance because I'm a political watcher. Peter Obi never contested PDP presidential primary, and I don't know where the justice was getting that information from. Secondly, those who Nigeria questioned, even their colleague, questioned how they were able to become senators, why all of them were in the field, justly to become the Nigerian president to APC primary. The man do not make reference of that. I'm asking myself, is it that anybody who wants to trend must go to Obi or something like that? I don't just understand it. Upon all the things that have been done in the past, this man was unable to cite any. It it is Obi. This makes me to have more strong and have faith in this Obi that everybody is attacking from left, right, and center. Because I cannot just believe what I was hearing from a respected retired judge. A man who never contested, he bought PDP presidential ticket. Yes, he bought it. I know of that. But he resigned. He never contested. He did not go to the field. He did not even near the hall where they conducted their primary. I don't know where the justice was getting his information from. Is it that they are playing a card of Obi, just use whatever machinery they can to bring him down? I just understand. I can't wrap my head around what is playing out, seriously speaking. But my faith is still for me to be, seriously speaking. I'm going to canvass, I'm going to vote, I'm going to make sure that we work tirelessly to make sure that he win through the ballot. Because I can't just understand it, that everybody is against a man who is saying a new Nigerian is possible. Upon all the shenanigans that happens during the litigants, the man cannot cite any. It is Obi that he is citing. And aside from that, nothing else. Esther, please, I'm dumbfounded. But my faith is strong that we will scale through. Nigeria is going to scale through. We can't end this way. All Nigerians, the ball is on our court. Let's rally around this man. There is something good about him. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Akuluban, for calling. Okay. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Lady Esther. Good evening.
How are you?
This is Shella calling from my brother.
Well done.
Yes, thank you. In fact, yeah, I saw that video yesterday and I was taken aback seeing I think Obi in Kano, and I saw the crowd chanting Kwankwaso Obi, Kwankwaso Obi. Yeah, it looks good, but I won't get carried away. You know why?
Why?
I have a feeling that they want to use Obi. You know, there are many of us that we are obedient because we want a new Nigeria, and Peter Obi represents that new character that we need. You know, if not, it's somebody that, despite how strong an opposition he is, they have not been able to send the FCC after him. They have not been able to, you know, there's nothing tangible to hold against this man, which buttresses or cements our confidence in him that these are the kind of people we need. We don't actually need a saint per se, but we need somebody that will represent the people. So let me cut that. Why I'm saying this is that it will be a miracle. It will be a pleasant surprise for me. If Obi will get the presidential ticket in the ADC, I will be very surprised, because the North, they have this belief that power belongs to them, and for somebody like Atiku, he is the arrowhead in ADC, and I know he has the money, he has the followers, and he will do whatever it takes. He's as ambitious and desperate, just like Tinubu, and these are people for me that I don't see as people that can lead Nigeria to the promised land. Likewise, I'm sorry to say this, Kwakwanso, but even in the North, there are some people like I can vote for. Somebody like Zulum, we are looking at the body language. Look at that man, he goes to the field, so it is not a matter of tribalism here. I don't know, maybe you get my point, Esther. So, I believe these Northerners, I'm very skeptical about them. I have misgivings about them. So, I don't know, we are between the devil and WC. Unfortunately, the present government doesn't all go well for us. Of course, I wish them away as well. But my own worry is that because of our desperation for a change, are we going to go for a recycled problem again? You don't get what I'm saying now. The good people that can lead this country to the promised land, they have been shut out of the system. It's only Obi. Sowore is another person, but I don't know why it's not aligning. We have people that can do it. But look at, I believe if Oshibajo had come in, that man would have done well. So, but the corrupt system, the evil people in the system, they want to remain there with their cohorts to keep punishing and impoverishing Nigeria. So, yeah, between devil and WC, we just have to hope on God. If Obi comes in, like I say, as a candidate, I will be pleasantly surprised, but I doubt it.
All right, thank you so much, Shola. Hello.
Good evening, Esther.
How are you?
Fine. This is former citizen of Nigeria, now retired.
All right, please go ahead.
Yes, let me touch on the religious part of it. You shouldn't be surprised. It happened in churches. That's to tell you the state of the current Nigeria now. And Esther, I hope you have bought food. I hope you have bought food because something worse than COVID-19 is in the making. Apart from this election that we are anticipating, something worse than COVID-19 is on the way. And also Lagos, because of this tribal sentiment and this selective justice system, there is going to be an implosion. But let me still reiterate. If you are eating in Nigeria, you need to be grateful. I don't know why the government is still taxing us though. Because we provide light, we provide security, we provide virtually everything, and I don't know why they are still taxing. I don't want to talk about party sentiment, but I just want to tell you that the current government, all the things they have said, you see that it is the contrast that we are experiencing so far. If you don't go to the street, you would think that all the president and his cohort are saying is true. Because after all, they work from AC to AC. You cannot tell somebody working under this sun that can boil beans that the GDP is rising and road gutter shoot mama fly. You can't say that.
True.
That's what I just want to tell you. Good evening. And as for all that, we are not gotten to giving me a favorable response. And I do not want to go and meet him when the job is not already available. That has been our discussion.
Oh.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. Hello.
Esther, good evening.
What did I do to you? What exactly did I do?
How are you?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I said, what did I do to you? It's been ages. What happened?
Esther, it's now also your brother, they also. I'm waiting we go show we they find about.
Well,
anyway, I'm fully back now.
Okay.
Esther, thanks for being doing a great job as always.
Thank you.
The name of Obi, they cause panic in the camp of those who hate Nigerians. And that is why everybody just wants to speak to bring him down. And it's not possible because the love for this guy is natural. He no buy him. He no take rice, collect him. He no take what is it called? If you see what I mean. Now, when Justice Salami come and I just look, why can't, if you are a judge, Esther, you are in a dignified, even past or present, you are expected to be in a position of honor. You don't throw yourself into street politics. I mean, this I'm really glad these people are showing who they are. People should type Justice or Salami and go and research this man. I'm not going to say anything so Esther don't get fined for defamation. Go and research this guy and conclude whatever on your findings. Now, if Sowore is blasting Obi, now I like Sowore. I like his courage, and I like how he stick his neck out for a lot of people. But his democratic spirit is questionable. Only you create a party, you made yourself the chairman, you are candidate. Come on, how is that democratic in nature? Now they will tell you how Obidients are rude. No, Obidients are not rude people. Now the last election, Bola Tinubu asked people to steal it and run with it. We saw the display of MC Musiliu in Lagos.
Yeah.
They don't speak to those people. When Obidients speak, they say, "Oh, you guys are too rude." What for what? You are oppressing me. My brothers and sisters have been attacked by Boko Haram. You abandoned them. The attacker, the killer, you gave them amnesty, and you want me to be civil, to be gentle. The people that oppress me, are they civil? Lastly, with Sowore, I kind of think we need to be very careful. I have questions when activists are seeking power. The people in power today, they were activists yesterday. Go and check the history of Africa. Every people that bastardized Africa used to be activists at one point in time.
This is like
Mugabe, Mussolini.
Adam Soshomele. These were strong activists.
Exactly, Mussolini, Nassimbe, Yadema. All those people in Africa, it is only Mandela and a few others that came to power and relinquished peacefully. Mussolini, the guy in Uganda now, he used to be the activist. People trusted him. Look at what he has done that country to. So I believe I'm not going to trust Sowore with power. People should just make up their mind, be willing to get involved, be willing to get engaged. Don't leave it to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Remy. Thank you for actually calling. To be honest with you, you guys, we are really in it. It's a deep one. Fuel went from 200 naira per liter to 1,400. It's getting to 1,500 possibly by tomorrow next. Also, spaghetti known as pasta went from 200 to 1,300 for one sachet. You have eggs 50 naira to 300 naira. Hey God, oh. A kilo of chicken 2,005 to now 7,500. Kilo of turkey went from 3,005 to 11,500. A self-contained apartment went from 350 to 1 million naira. Now it's 1.5, 1.7. A mini flat from 650k to 2.5. In some instances, 3 million. A plate of rice and chicken from 2,005 to 7,000 naira. Local flights from 60,000 to 300,000 naira. Federal University school fees went from 30,000 to 150,000 naira plus. See, this na first time. Oh, hey. Hello, good evening. Hello,
Hello, good evening, Esther.
good evening. How are you? What's your name, please?
Patrick is calling from Okota.
All right, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. I think Ayo Salami want to be in the news. I don't know where he's drawing his argument from by mentioning Obi. Obi has now become a talking point in every political dispensation, where instead of them to talk regarding him as a promising leader, they are now finding a way to make sure that he is condemned to the dust, so that his name will not be in the ballot by all and sundry. It is very unfortunate that Nigerians have seen that we are in the dark, and they still want us to remain in the dark. I think, for me, I'm still calling on fellow Nigerians, those who have the light, those who have the dream of Nigeria becoming a reality in future. Next year, let's all rally round. And we don't just have to give up with all the attacks from everywhere. Those of the people, the very few that are benefiting, still want us to remain where we are. Look at the prices, all the things that we are just reading out now. Is that how a country is supposed to be run? By this time, when they took over from PDP, is that how things were skyrocketing every day, every hour, every minute? Look at where we find ourselves. The president is saying that the security responsibility is everybody. That is admitting that he has already failed. All his campaign promises, what has he achieved? Nothing. All he's after is to see how he can gather as many people as much as he can gather to himself, so that all the time he will come and declare to us that Nigerians like him. He has already been rejected. You should know that. All that he's doing is just beating about to see his head can remain above water. But next year, APC is going to sink. And that is my promise. Thank you.
All right, thank you for calling. Okay, hello. Turn down the volume of your radio, please, very quickly. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Esther. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Very well, my sister. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. What's your name?
ACN from Amodofi.
ACN, now this is your voice this evening. What's happening now? Be calming down.
What is it with my voice today, Esther?
Go ahead, ACN.
Esther, the person that sent you that thing forgot to add that bread was 350 before, but now it's 2,000.
As in,
Oh, you know, I'm telling you, we can go on and on. Esther. But what I want to talk about is this issue of MC Oluomo. Esther, some persons come, and I want to mention names. People like MC Oluomo, people like Asare Dokubo, and most recently, people like Sunday Igboho. It is not where the innocent voters are that they will come to flex their muzzle. Let them go. If they have all these arsenals and they are this powerful, let them go to Sabisa Forest and confront the Boko Haram that Nigeria has been struggling to decimate for a very long time. It is not to come and threaten the innocent voters whose only offense is trying to change the system, the status quo that has not worked for us over the years. Threats for people who really want it. You know, everything about leadership starts from the top. During the tenure of late President Mohamed Buhari, we heard about the body language of the president. Today, if the president, the current president, is accountable, I can tell you, even the House of Assembly, none of them will go away from the method of the president. But this president, the presidential yacht, the presidential aircraft, they were all purchased without due process of legislative approval. None of them went through legislative approval. So if I, ACN, is a member of the House of Assembly, how do you want me to subject my own expenditure to the president? I will not do that, because the president has already set the precedence that we can do anything anyhow and nothing matters. This is why they said the fish rottens from the head. If the president of the nation, aligns himself with the realities of truth and fairness, every other person will have no choice than to follow suit. And this is what we have been crying, and this is what we have been struggling. Now, a justice, some time ago I called this station and I said, it is not about how much educated we are. It is about us coming clear to tell ourselves the truth as a nation. Somebody who is a judge, the matter in contention before now was about the saga of the current president, about the certificate saga of the current president. The retired justice did not see any reason to bring that to the fore. But he has to go and quote something that never existed, that Peter Obi actually contested the presidential election under PDP. And this person is a retired justice. This person is an elite. This person is somebody we see as an educated fellow. Most of the people you see today in position of powers, the people one way or the other that put them in that position are all INEC chairmen who are mainly professors. They are the same people that pushed these semi-illiterate people into power, even when rightfully they did not win any election. So you ask ourselves, where are we going as a nation? Is this how we grow as a nation?
All right, AC,
is this how we become good as a nation?
Thank you for calling. All right. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're taking a very short break. The evening rush continues, so kindly stay with us.